morning. Good morning to all of you. I think one of the terms I picked up when I lived in the United States for many years is a very funny term. They say for laughs and giggles. I didn't understand that, but I suppose it just means something not very, very important. So as I was sitting down preparing, I decided to deviate from my start. Because just for laughs and giggles, I went into my folder to check out when is the earliest talking assignment I had on AI. Because I'm a newly minted professor, and the gentleman who got me into teaching is sitting right here, my guru, Professor Atish Chaturpedi. I teach marketing at JAXOM, and as a leadership role, I lead CDE, which is 3 colleges, and do my part in running a university too. Just for laughs and giggles, I checked out, and at that time I was a senior VP with Oracle, and NHRDN invited me for a conference, and the right date is 8th of February 2019, and the topic is almost the same. The future of work, Industry 4.0. And we talked about AI, and we talked about all these lovely things. And I spent a little more time trying to forget the right psychological term to describe this phenomenon. And I came up with a word called habituation. Actually, it's a psychological term. It's psychological shortcoming of the human mind, where repeated exposure to the same message actually dulls our sensitivity, it dulls our attention, and it dulls our sense of urgency. So if you want proof of that, and that it doesn't happen to geniuses like us sitting in this room, well, just try this for size. The 2008 global financial crisis was one of the most warned ones for years. They warned that US housing boom, subprime, lending rates, unsustainable. Who listened? Habituation. Let's go to some lesser mortals with IQs not as high as us. They work in a company called NASA. They just happened to put some rockets into space. Challenger disaster, 1986. Normalization of deviance, it's called today. Engineers repeatedly reported problems with the O-ring in cold weather. But because launches continued without a problem, NASA leadership became habituated, and the rest, as they say, is disaster, not history. We've heard so much about AI disruption, future skills that we're becoming habituated. Perhaps we too, our senses are going to get diluted. Our urgency is going to get lowered. So whenever I have this problem, I go back to my guru when I started my life. I'd never got to know him. I wish I'd known him. His name is Peter Drucker. And Peter Drucker said, strategy is a commodity, execution is not. I keep reminding this to my kids because I come from a $48 billion company running a few billion myself. So when we speak about AI, the future of management education is not going to be shaped by panels. It's not going to be shaped by big ideas. It's going to be driven by details we choose to measure, we choose to understand, and act upon. So this is not a book launch. This is actually a commissioned study that was done by NHRDN together with Jagdish Seth, School of Management. It focuses on skill shift, and it tries to give academia and industry, policymakers, thought leaders, a glimpse into what the manager of 2030 is going to be. I'd like you to hold your breath, because at the end of this report, I'm going to actually play you a 2-minute video that shows you how all of this thinking and intellectual exercises we're doing in this room comes into reality. This report actually builds on a 2019 JAXOM NHRDN survey that then focused on Industry 4.0, skill requirements that emphasized the importance of human capabilities, creativity, emotional intelligence, problem solving, etc. This present research takes it a little deeper. It covers 15 competencies drawn from the World Economic Forum's Future of Work Report 2025. So this is an academic exercise. This is not a book launch. First question we need to ask is look at the study, the scale, the methodology. It was a quantitative survey, 414 respondents in a structured survey across job levels, across industries, across functions, and they were asked to focus on the projected significance of these 15 skills we're talking about, starting from 2025, going all the way to 2030. We then went on to saying 3 round tables of CXOs, 25 each across 3 cities, Delhi, Mumbai, Calcutta, and we asked them to either look for deeper insights, validate what World Economic Forum is saying, and tell us how does this apply in a country as diverse and different as India, my country. And then we took all of that learning and we said, what better way to look at AI than to use AI? So we did AI prediction modeling, skill disruption index by sector, 15 core competencies chosen from the future of work. Now this report is on your table. This report is downloadable, and we want it to be downloaded across thousands and thousands of people, not just in India, but across the world. The other day, I had the joy of giving it to the HR head of a company called Bloomberg, because they too are struggling with the same thing. So, you may ask this question. I love questions. Why this study and why now? Well, my friends, there are 5 forces that are descending upon us. 40% of the working hours we have today are not going to be the same in each of our lives. Think about it. 40% of the things you do during the day, you're not going to be doing X years from now. There, because somebody else is going to be doing it. AI adoption grew 500% since the launch of ChatGPT. India ranks among the top 3 countries in terms of adoption of AI because of the huge amount of corporate-sponsored training that's happening today. Then comes Amazon, Google, and Microsoft. It's going to be really funny. I'm going to really watch this with a lot of fun on the sidelines. We're spending so much time creating placement-ready graduates. Everybody's ranking is driven by how much they place people. Like I tell people, there are 3 aspects to marriage. First, getting married. That's finding a job. The second problem is staying married. And the last one, as many of us in this room will know, staying married happily for 40 years. Apply that to a career and ask ourselves as business schools, are we doing what we're supposed to be doing? Or are we going back to the old world of the father in the old Indian society said, ladki paida ho gaya to bojh hai, usko shaadi karke chhod do. I'm sorry, I'm very provocative. So said Larry Ellison when I used to work for him. It's in my genes. I look for trouble, I find it. Jobs are shifting, and they're shifting from tasks to outcomes. Here's another frightening one. The half-life of jobs has dropped from 10 to 15 years and has dropped to 3 to 5 years. Somebody said they went to college once only. I'm sorry, you're going to go to college 3 more times, young lady, if I look at where you're coming from. India is facing disruption. 38% skill disruption, which is about 4 percentage points lower than the United States. We're 6 percentage points higher than the United States. We are 4 percentage points lower than the emerging economies. But there's a fair amount of disruption that's going to happen. What do CXOs tell me? They say your graduates are great at tools, but they're weak at judgment. They say we cannot wait for academia to change the world. We're going to start designing capability academies ourselves. Who talked about threat to what do you call it, category 2 business schools. Someday industry is going to say, we don't need you. You know why? As I'm going to tell you later, their disruption cycles are on months, ours are on years. Scary stuff. But fear is a good thing. So we are evolving slower, not by some small amounts, but by some serious amounts. 3 to 5 year evolution cycles when industry and technology is churning almost every day. You know, I started my life working for Yamaha in Japan. I always find English to be a limited language. I love Sanskrit, I love Greek, very proud of my language. I also like Japanese. It's a very nuanced language. There are 3 words for change, unlike English where we have 1. The first word is Kaizen, and we all know it, and it's called small improvement. The other 2 words. Word number 2 is Kakushan, and it means innovation, it means reform, it means renewal. But the third one frightens the daylights out of the Japanese guy, because many times it doesn't happen in his lifetime. And that's called Kaikaku. It means revolutionary change. Japanese companies never do it. If we had to apply where we are with respect to AI, it's the third word we should focus on. Not incremental change. Should we have blended curriculum? Guys, you know what? We're shooting too low. We're shooting, you know, Confucius said, don't shoot elephant guns don't use an elephant gun to shoot a rabbit. I think we're guilty of the reverse. Five messages from this report, and then I'm going to stop. Message number 1. Oh, by the way, that's tagline. I forgot. The world of work is being redesigned. 3 messages. Message number 1. 3 mega forces are reshaping the world. You all know what it is. AI and automation is the number 1 disruptor of skills. Now, here's the problem. We're teaching people tools in business schools. From when did Professor Bhaskar correctly said, we are not a tech school, we leave that to the IITs, we are management schools. So what the heck are we doing with technology? We should be asking how these tools are reshaping the skills and the mental aptitude and the cognitive capabilities we need to have into surviving in a world that is intensive with technology. We're asking the wrong question. The other day in an interview, somebody asked me, how do I know which school I should go to be AI ready? I said, I don't know that, but I can tell you which ones you don't want to go to. They asked me, how's that? I said, look for all the schools that are introducing new courses in AI. Don't go there. Because the fundamentals of management are not changing. How AI applies to them is changing. So if they're integrating AI into their foundation programs, go there. Don't go and get married to somebody who's redefining marriage. It's never going to change. It's the same thing. The sexual bias may change, but the process and the intent is still the same. You know, agility and adaptability. And people ask me all this time, what is agility? Faster learning, faster unlearning, and faster adaptation. And then people ask me as a deep tech guy, what the hell should I be worried about in AI? Is it that it learns faster? I said, not at all. The thing you should really be worried about AI is it unlearns so fast, and there's something you and I are not able to do. And that's why it's going to be powerful. Not because of its ability to learn. It's going to be powerful because of its inability to unlearn. Number 3. Complexity and constant change. 3 words. Resilience to withstand shocks. Creativity to design new solutions. Continuous learning to keep pace with disruption. You know, my friends, I really love this. My colleague Pranav spoke in the earlier panel. And there was a topic of why people should come and study in India. If and when, not if, but when we build a new campus, there's my colleague and Sanjay, my friend, sitting there. I'm going to tell him, what you got to put outside is what they put outside Heathrow Airport. There's a Concorde aircraft there. And we're going to put Starship Enterprise. You know why? Because I grew up on Starship Enterprise and said, these are the adventures of Starship Enterprise. These jokers are going to go to planets that nobody's gone to. They're going to discover new forms of life. But I like the last part, and that's all I remember from Captain Kirk. They will go where no man has had the courage to go before. That is what we got to do. So anybody says they know where this is headed, try again. We've been working on AI and Oracle from early 2000s. We're just kind of scratching the surface. When I show you CHROs talking about in the last 2-minute video, you'll say, if they're confused, how the hell do I be so convinced? Reminds me of a guy called Confucius, German philosopher. He says, certainty comes from limited knowledge. Deeper knowledge raises questions. So I'm very, very happy with just questions. Message number 2. Future managers have to blend 3 kinds of skills. Not learn them in silos, my friends. I love using my words a little carefully. We have to blend them. What are they? First is technical skills. We all know this. But try this for size. At Tata Steel, shop floor engineers, where I also started my life in shop floor, they don't solve problems on the shop floor by looking at machines. They create digital twins. And then they said, what do you need to use a digital twin? They said, you need critical thinking. You need system-level understanding. So my friends, cognitive skills. Where do we get them from? Amazon? Blinkit? Panel discussions? And the third one is what I call as hard currency, what used to be soft. On some women fancy for laughs and giggles, when I was very, very young, I started a training company called Mercury Goldman. So it's a quadrant 4 company now, and then I went back to embedded systems in 99. And when I went to do training, I wanted to teach people training in sales. Training, sir. My first customer was Tata Motors. Gentleman I went to ended up heading Hyundai after that, and he said, I can pay you 4,999 rupees. Asked him why that 1 rupee less than 5,000. He says, 5,000 is what we pay to professors who come from the Administrative Staff College in IIM, sir. So I got 1 rupee less. Then I begged him, and he then said, I'll pay you for transparencies, and if you bring your own whiteboard, I'll pay you a little more money. That was the value of training then. Today, soft skills, think again. That's hard currency, my friends. Human skills. Service orientation, social influence, emotional intelligence. Human skills are not soft. My CX Roundtable, when you read that report, tells you freshers lack listening, communication, and collaborative discipline. They didn't mention which schools. They said all schools. Because these are Fortune 500 companies, so they must be recruiting from the top schools of India. Agility is now, they say, a performance metric. Rapid learning, rapid unlearning, rapid adaptability. And because automation will each our tasks, the beauty is influence, empathy, and trust building cannot be automated. Message number 3. Freshers face the cheapest drum. And I always believe that a picture is worth 1,000 words, so I will not say anything to this visual. I'll just give you 30 seconds to see it. It talks to itself. This is not Jackson view, this is the industry view. Message number 4. I love this. I was researching, Professor. I went to IIM Ahmedabad, but I never got to do a full-time course. I did an executive MBA, so I'd love to say I'm an alumni there, but I never put it down. But I'm still very proud of what I learned there, sir. I always tell kids, recently we are trying to put bespoke early this year in Jackson. Sanjay has been pushing us in bespoke. And I asked the kids, you all listen to Spotify? They said, yes. I said, what if you went to Spotify and it asked you, what kind of music do you want? And you said, rap. And somebody else said, you know what, I like pop. The third said, I like hard rock. They said, thank you for all your inputs, but you have only one playlist. They said, man, I wouldn't enroll. How come we have only one playlist for our learning curriculum, irrespective of what the guy wants to become? Hey, buddy, what do you want to be? I want to be a trader, Wall Street. Fantastic. What do you want to be? Well, I want to be, I actually want to be a capital markets guy. Oh, really? Well, I've got good news for you guys. You're all going to learn the same things. And then what does the survey tells us? It tells us each sector has a different pattern of skill demand in the world of AI. Try this for size. E-com, resilience, agility, innovation. Energy, creativity, quality, mindset, ESG, sustainability. Try this one, healthcare, pharma, resilience, and social influence. I wish I had time to talk about all this, but I don't. And then ITES, AI readiness, agility, innovation. And yet we want hardbound curriculum. It's like going to one of the restaurants. What do you want, sir? And you give him a whole dish, and he says, we got only idli and vadas, whatever you want. We can change the shape if you want, but that's the dish. And yet we sit and say, we're learning. Message number 5, continuous learning is not a slogan, my friends. It's now a KPI. Whether we like it or not, it's a KPI. You know, service orientation, recurring theme, learning velocity, learning progression. They are key metrics in companies like Adobe, you go to a company like Microsoft, you go to a company like IBM. This is what they measure today. Organizations looking for a type of addiction. It's called addiction to learning. And finally, my friends, message number 6. Service orientation, quality mindset, employee. It ranks among the top 3 skills in a generation that is becoming increasingly selfish and self-absorbed. We're now saying they've got to think outward. So now we don't only learn skills, we've got to rewire their attitudes. Man, how the hell are we going to do it? I got 3 kids, I'm struggling. Startups, obsessive quality. Customer first. This is what I love the most. You know what's happening today? This is what's happening. Companies are saying, give me moderately skilled people, highly motivated. I don't want these highly skilled guys that are low drive ones. I want to end with 3 quick thoughts, my friend, and I've got a beautiful video to play for you. The world of 2030 demands AI-enabled, emotionally intelligent, cognitively sharp, and relentlessly adaptable individuals. But then comes my friend Peter Drucker again. If you start with Peter, then you've got to end with Peter. Peter Drucker said so famously, and I keep it close to my heart, don't waste time predicting the future, he said. Look for the future that's already here, because my good friend, this is not a future prediction. This report in your hands, which you're going to unveil in a little while with some of the best management minds in this room. India Inc. is hiring on this today, now. And we're talking about changing. That train is passed long, guys. We got to run really fast to make up for lost time. And by the way, I can't help by saying it. Why can't India be an education destination? It has nothing to do with my talk. We are the land of Nalanda. We are the land of Kanchi. My country is where the world came to study in. And it will come again, provided we think the future before the world can think about it. Stop here. I want to invite some of the best minds here. Professor Bhaskar, Professor Anil, Sanjay.